With us now, Danica Patrick, entrepreneur, former race car driver, also host of the Pretty Intense podcast. Nice to have you. Thank you very much. Looked at your Twitter account. This about the Wisconsin bill that supports replacing mother with inseminated person. You wrote, "I'm just so happy we are laughing at this instead of entertaining it and trying not to offend anyone." So, right, 2025, the rules are totally different. For conservatives, or common sense folks, whatever you want to call it, is laughing the right response?
I think that's kind of where I hope that we've got to, is that this isn't like a truly entertained bill. Given the fact that there are about 85 million mothers in this country, I feel like they would all be somewhat offended by the fact that they should be called inseminated person as opposed to a mother. So I kind of giggle. I guess I have a little more sense of humor about things. I don't take things quite so seriously, and this seems like something that should just not be taken so seriously.
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of people who would be well served in Washington not taking things so seriously. It brings up an important point, though, which is that Republicans figured out how to define the field of battle on big picture, the trans issue, right? It came down to boys in girls sports. 79% of Americans say boys shouldn't play in girls sports. It's obvious, and it's obvious why not. Biological males who identify as women should not be allowed to participate in women's sports. You can't even get 79% of Americans to agree that ice cream tastes good. So this is a pretty overwhelming majority. That said, when you get to a place like Iowa, where there's these mass protests in the Capitol over removing gender identity from the civil rights bills in Iowa, is there a chance that Republicans, conservatives, are overstepping the mandate and risk giving up the moral high ground? Well,
I think this is, again, another issue where, as you pointed out, nearly 80% of the country believes that men should not be in women's sports. And what's funny is I just was on Riley Gaines' podcast yesterday, Gaines for Girls, and I feel very strongly about that. And I said, "Do you find that interesting that I was a girl in a guy's sport?" And of course, the answer is that there's a very big difference in biology between a man and a woman when we're looking at peak and pure potential of strength. It's just not genetic. It's not in the biological cards for a woman. And so a man is always going to have more strength. Testosterone is generally 10 times higher in men than women. So it just doesn't make it fair. I think that it's, again, another just vote of reason. This is a reasonable thing. And, you know, Riley shared with me in the episode how she was at one point speaking at a college, and she was basically held captive inside of a room.
Yeah, I remember.
And they were, and this action was supported by the university, that they handled the situation properly to basically entrap her in this room and tell her if she wanted to leave safely, she was going to have to change what she said. I mean, these are ludicrous things. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of what's being sort of contested and trying to bring back to a reasonable place is that, please just don't affect my life. People can live their own lives, but when it intrudes on someone else's ability to live the life that they want, or have a dramatic influence in the kind of life that is lived, it just has to be addressed.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.